So good morning, friends. I think we can start the proceedings now. I'm pretty happy that we have Byjus with us. Okay, and I'm very hopeful that this session will be very fruitful because they will be engaging you with the significance and the walkthrough with respect to profiling. We have two gentlemen with us, Mr. Hemanth and Mr. Nitin. Okay, this exercise has been successfully accomplished for all the branches across the college except civil. So I hope that this will be one of the most fruitful awareness creating sessions, because most of the kids here they do not know how to go about profiling or how to create the resumes. Okay, so we have started a series of interactions with other companies wherein they can have a direction of how they would like to proceed further. But even if you want to proceed further, if you do not have a proper direction of how to represent things, it would be in vain. So with this few words, I welcome on behalf of Civil Department and BMSIT, Mr. Nitin, Mr. Hemanth, and I would warmly request them to, continue the proceedings. Thank you. Welcome, both of you, sir.
Hello, sir. Thank you so much for the warm introduction. Okay, sir, I will just present my screen and I'll get started, sir. Thank you for the lead, sir. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, yes, sir. Okay. Yes, just a second, guys. Just a second. Just give me a second, guys. I'm just kind of trying to present my screen.
No problem. Friends, today's session is very, very
Okay.
important for you from your career perspective.
Okay. Very good morning, guys. Welcome to the session. Now let's get started. Now, before we get started, a simple hygiene to just ensure everything is very clear in this session. Uh, you know how to use this Google Meet, right? So everybody can stay muted throughout the session so that there is no disturbance during the session, right? But nevertheless, I really want you to communicate with me. So you can actively use the chat box, type in any responses or any questions that you have. I'll be able to respond to the same and solve it at the earliest. Okay, so let me start with a very basic question. Can you guys hear me? Yes or no? Can you type in the chat box? You don't need to unmute yourself and speak. You can just type in the chat box. Your entire communication in the session can be through the chat box, right? Can you just type in the chat box whether you're able to hear me, yes or a no? Okay. Yes says Dakshata. Yes says Abdul. Yeah. Yes says Neha. Disha. Okay. Great, guys. Great. Which means I'm audible to each and every one of you. Now let's get started. Very good morning and welcome to the session. First of all, I understand, guys. I can really empathize with you. 8:45 in the morning, right? It is too early part of the day, but nevertheless, I'll give you one guarantee, guys. In this entire session, we'll definitely have lots of fun. We will interact a lot. Know some very eccentric information which you wouldn't have looked at before, and very interesting perspectives of how your career is going to be after you graduate, what are the options, what are the challenges, etc. And then we'll have a very interesting Q&A session and wind up the entire session. Okay, so let's get started. Now before we get started, unlike a politician, I will give a very quick introduction about myself. Okay, now my name is Hemanth. Long ago, just like you guys, I also happened to become an engineer. Did my undergrad in a college in Chennai called as Anna University campus. Got myself placed in three very good companies and then decided not to join them. There is a reason. I'll tell you why. Okay. Then what I did was I started my own company, ran it successfully for 3 years. Post which I got my MBA from this institute by the name Great Lakes Institute of Management, a very good B school in India for doing an MBA program. After which I worked for many tech startups. Today, I happen to be a founder member of this company by the name Career Labs. Now, to give you an introduction about Career Labs, right? It is a company formed in partnership with Byjus. Okay, it's like a sister concern. Now, how do we both work together? I'll tell you. Byjus always works towards a school segment, whereas Career Labs always works towards a college segment and the working professional. For example, engineers or commerce grads or working professionals, etc. Now, what is it we have built inside Career Labs that made a very big company like Byjus very much interested in us was we have built a very interesting platform or an app, whatever you'd like to call it as, where there are two important things for engineers. What is that? You see these big brands on your screen, right? They will be sharing something called as a knowledge module. Okay, what are the latest tools and technology I'm working upon? Second, they will be sharing something called as a recruitment model. This is very important. What do you mean by recruitment model is, for example, we very, very closely work with companies like CN, we work with companies like Saint Gobain, Collins Aerospace, Continental, all these companies, okay, all big mechanical and civil companies, right? So they'll be sharing something called as a recruitment model. What do you mean by that is, how do you find a job or a career, how build the necessary skill sets towards that particular domain or industry, whether it's in mechanical civil, whether it's in technology, electronics, banking sector, animation, etc., etc. Now that's what makes this career apps platform very, very special. But anyway, guys, what my company has achieved, what Byjus has achieved as an educational fed, or let's say what I have done in my life, all of these things is not relevant to you until I do something interesting and exciting for the next 15-20 minutes. That's the whole reason we're assembled in this particular session. So let's get started on that. Okay. Now, I just want to understand. I know the fact you guys are from fifth semester civil department. Can you just confirm the same? You're in fifth semester, yes or no? I know you're from civil department, but can you confirm whether you're from fifth semester? Okay, yes,
Yes.
you're from fifth semester. Great. So, what is the road ahead, guys? I mean, let's clearly understand. May, June 2022, you're going to pass out. That is very clear. I hope everybody's clear on the fact that you have to pass out in May, June 2022. Simple question. What's your plan after engineering? Now, students are like, sir, first you please tell me when will colleges open, sir? We don't know when this pandemic is going to end. We don't know when we'll go to college to study, look at all our friends. And you're asking about June 2022 plan. But nevertheless, let me give you some options and let's see what are your choices. Okay. First option, you want to start your own business or get up into the startup world. It's a completely different workforce altogether. That's one. Option number two, you're aiming for a job either in a product company that's related to civil department or in an IT company. That's your option number two. The third option is higher education, India or abroad. There are many options. So one, two, three. What is your vote for? Type in the chat box. Guys, I want each and every one of you to participate in these polls. I'll tell you guys why am I asking these questions? Why is it I'm trying to understand about you? I'll tell you all the reasons. Quickly type in the answers. One, two, three. What is your vote for? Okay. Darshita says three. Shrishti says two. Namita says three. Sujay, Akshay. Okay. So the choices are typically between two and three. Choices are typically between two and three. Okay. Now, fair enough, guys. I understand that point. But now comes my question. Have you ever evaluated how many engineers pass out within May June 2022? If you look at the number, we're looking at a massive 8 to 10 lakh engineers. Okay. And the $1 million question which I placed before these guys is that do you think all these 8 10 lakh engineers passing out with you end up getting a high paying job in this country? Yes or a no? Can you type on the chat box? Simple, straightforward question. Give me a straightforward answer. It's okay, guys. It's a very silly question, but I still wanted to answer. Huh, you guys are very, very clear. I also agree with the fact engineers don't get paid really high salaries. Okay. Now, why this happens? That is important to analyze. For example, let's take the companies. You take any engineering college for that matter, right? You have your regular IT companies, and few co-companies in the civil sector come for recruitment. Average starting salary for engineers, very simple. Ask your seniors, they'll tell you anywhere between 3 to 6 lakhs. Okay. Now, what is interesting, I'll tell you. The same IT company goes to a college in Hyderabad by the name Indian School of Business, recruit candidates or students there upward of 20 lakhs per annum. Same set of companies. Whereas they go to one more interesting college by the name IITs, which are so called the best institutions, okay, offer a starting salary of 7 to 8 lakhs per annum. For example, TCS calls these people as TCS ninjas. Now you might ask, Hemanth, why this disparity? Why is it engineers lowest salary, whereas ISB people or IITs are getting high salary? What is the reason? It is simply because of demand supply. Okay, you take engineers, a lot of engineers in the market. The job demand is relatively very, very less. Okay, therefore your price or salary goes down. On the contrary, the number of people who do the master's degree is very, very less in the country at any given point. Okay, because actually the number of people who end up doing their masters is very less. Okay, but the job demand for them or their skill sets is relatively much, much higher because they have more specialized skills. And that's the reason their price of salary is much, much higher. Okay, does it mean I'm trying to tell it's impossible for engineers to get a high paying job? Definitely not, my dear students. There are wonderful companies. Take your own civil domain, right? There are companies like JLL, there are companies like ABB, there are companies like DLF, there are companies like, let's say, L&T Construction. There are so many global construction companies, right? They always recruit engineers for a much, much higher starting salary, which is something you are aware of, everybody knows about. Okay. For example, let's take, there are interesting domains where the demand has not really gone down. For example, everybody talked about real estate being taken a hit, it's gone, this is gone, etc. I have my friend working in this company called as Godrej Property. Okay. In the last 2 quarters, their sales have not dropped drastically compared to what it was before, which means they're still in business. They're still actively doing business and recruiting people. Then the question comes, okay, Mr. Hemant, I agree to all your facts and anecdotal evidence and everything. Then why is that I'm not getting a job in a company like Gammon or a Boeing or a JLL, any of these companies? What is the reason? It is simply because of the fact that 95% of the engineers who sit for such product companies or core company interviews in your own civil sector, right? They lack something called as an X factor. Now, what is this X factor? Why have engineers been lacking that? All these details I'll tell at the end of the session. So, one thing is straightforward and clear. You know that, I know that, everybody knows. What is that? Yes, there are companies in your own civil sector, outside the civil sector, which is actively hiring engineers. But the fundamental problem lies in our ability to get those jobs. What really happens at the end of your engineering? You get into IT company. Say, I'm okay with a CSIS guy getting into IT company because that's what he studied for 4 years. But why a civil guy? Okay, so that's the reason the starting salaries are very, very less, guys. And after that, right, if you work in the company really hard, salary increments also not so great. Okay, and finally, after computing inflation, taxes, deductions, expenses, etc., 1 to 2% of your income is what you end up saving in your bank account if you end up working in these companies. Okay, so what I'm trying to tell you is very, very simple. As engineers, starting salary is very less, salary increments is very less. Whereas in the same market, in the same companies, there are people who do their master's degree. There are people who work in product companies, which we already discussed. What's so special? Salary for them is much higher. Salary increments is also much, much higher. So what I'm trying to tell you is a very simple advice, guys. June 2022, when you pass out from your college, please keep one of these two options as your very important and primary option. What is that? A, you can seek for master's program in India or abroad. There are a lot of options, we'll discuss the same. Or option two, please try aiming for a product or a core company if you're not interested in masters, because that is where the value is there in terms of what you studied in 4 years. And keep your IT company as your backup or your last option. And by the way, on top of all these things, right, you need to build something called as an X factor. That is very, very important. So what we'll do next 5-10 minutes is that we'll spend some time understanding what is this X factor, why do engineers like this, all these things, what are the options we have in terms of master's placements, and then we'll wind up the entire session. So that's my question to you. Can we proceed for the next 5-10 minutes? Are you guys interested? Yes or no? Can you acknowledge in the chat box? Because I've been talking for a long time. I'm not hearing anything from you. Okay, can we continue? Yes or no? Are you interested? Okay, looks like everybody is interested. I have the consent. Okay, let's get started. Now, as I already mentioned, right, there are enough high paying jobs available for engineers, right? For example, let's take your own civil niche domain. Very interesting domains like construction management, mechatronic specialist, or even design engineering. These are the ones where engineers from your own domain have been getting consistent high paying salaries. How? Because we have seen plenty of students with career labs, right? For the past 2 years, these domains they've been consistently getting high paying starting salaries. Okay, many companies are there, but these jobs are meant for people who love engineering. See, I like civil very much, and therefore I want a job in the same sector. Then what about people who really don't like engineering or who are kind of somewhere in between, choosing other engineering options? What about them? There is something called as a managerial job. For example, sales and marketing, digital marketing, finance, HR, operations, supply chain, etc. Right? Forget about it. There are something called as creative roles where today engineers are getting recruited. For example, graphic designer, UI UX designer, content writer, proposal writer, sports consultant, product designer. You won't believe me, guys. Okay, we had a civil student from this university in Coimbatore. It's called as Karuna University. Civil guy. Okay, from your own department. He had a very limited coding knowledge, and he was very interested in the domain called as gaming and animation. Okay, this very interesting company called as Rockstar Games. You heard of Rockstar Games, no? San Andreas, Vice City, all those video games and everything. So in Bangalore, he got placed as a 3D artist intern. Stipend per month 40,000 rupees. Why? Because 3D artist intern doesn't require heavy coding knowledge when he works in the gaming animation sector. Since he was from civil background and he was very, very good with design skills, he picked up a very interesting career. So the point is very, very simple. It is not just core civil engineering jobs. There are enough high paying jobs available for engineers across different sectors, not only civil sectors. It is available across civil. You can get into management, you can get into digital marketing, you can get into creative domains, etc. Then the question comes, Okay, Mr. Hemant, I still agree to your fact. All these companies come and recruit. I agree with these companies, the logos, the jobs, etc. But why is it fundamentally I am not getting these jobs? The reason is very simple. Let's take a company like Gammon, okay, or let's take a company like L&T Construction, your own civil sector companies. When they come to a college for recruitment, when 100 engineers sit for an interview, right, barely 3 to 5 people will get selected, which means the acceptance rate of the company is anywhere between 3 to 5%. Why is that the rest of the 95% are rejected? Simply because of the fact the 95% of them don't have the X factor. See, I beautifully correlated, right? First, I told you engineers lack something. Now, none of us bought it. And then I told you, look, there are jobs, there are numbers, there are people who got into such jobs, there are starting salaries. I mentioned everything. Then all of us accepted the fact. Yes, we know the fact. Whenever a product company comes, they recruit very, very less, simply because we have been lacking something. Okay, now I'll tell you, don't worry, I'll tell you what is the next factor. Now let's quickly understand the higher education options also. See, in placements, we understood what is the problem and what is the solution. Problem is we don't have the X factor, solution is we need to build the X factor. Now, higher education, let's understand the problem solution. Okay, let's take India. You like engineering. You want to do your MTech in civil, construction, structural stress engineering, etc. etc. Gate MTech. For example, institutes like IIC Bangalore, IITs, older IITs, NITs, etc. is there. Or if you don't like engineering, most of the engineers write CAT and MBA program. Okay, and there are other engineers who write UPSC, civil services, or let's say something like bank PO, etc., etc. All these things. I really don't get this point. 4 years of engineering, that to civil, and then writing a bank PO exam. Engineers have been doing that, but what students have not realized is that all these options across this country, your competition is in lakhs, the number of people who write the exam, and your seats and opportunity are in hundreds or thousands. For example, if you want to get into a top MTech program in this country, your gate cutoff is 800,000. Top MBA program in this country in IIMs, your CAT cutoff is 2,000 to 3,000 number of seats. Okay, you should be the top 2,000 people. Okay, otherwise you're rejected. So in this exams, right, there is a simple equation which I wanted to understand. What is that is, at any given point, how do you calculate your success in these exams before you guys start preparing for these exams? Let's take GATE exam. For 800 number of seats, 8 lakh people compete, which means your success is lesser than 1 percentage approximately. It's like 0.1 percentage, which means there's a 99.9% a failure option opportunity in this exam. So does it mean I need to give up my higher education option? Definitely not. There are wonderful options. There are wonderful options. Some in India, majority in abroad. What's so special about these options is that they are much easier to get into, where the success percentage is anywhere between 11 to 50 percentage. 11% success is not a very high number, but you know what is 11% success for? It is for a university in abroad called as Harvard and Stanford. So the point is, it is much easier to get into a Harvard and Stanford compared to getting into a IIM or an IIT in India. So what we'll do is that at the end of the session, people who are interested exclusively in higher education, I will discuss all these options separately. Okay. And by the way, guys, by the way, irrespective of which program that you're applying for, whether MBA, MS, or MIM program or techno managerial program, for example, there are programs called as Masters in Construction Management, Masters in Structural Stress Engineering, which are techno managerial programs related to civil and everything and management. Across any program, any country, there is one common entrance exam. So you make your mind for higher education, this common entrance exam will be more than enough for any program in any country, which is GRE and IELTS, because it's accepted across US, UK, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, etc. etc. And these exams are much more easier compared to Indian exams. Okay, so one thing is very, very straightforward and clear, guys. Yes, there are opportunities which are much easier in master's degree and in placements. But the only one thing that we've been consistently lacking as engineers is building something called as an X factor. Okay, now a question to you. Again, I've been talking for a very long time. I never interacted with you. So, in the next 5-10 minutes, what I'll do is I'll give you a small quiz. It's the last part of the session. Okay, last part of the session. In this small quiz, okay, we will try and understand what exactly is X factor. If you solve this quiz, you'll understand the X factor. It's as simple as that. Okay. So, my question to you: are you interested to take on the quiz? Yes or no? Type on the chat box. It's a simple quiz, guys. Don't worry. There's no right and wrong answer. I'm not going to give you marks and all for that. Just a fun quiz. Are you interested to take this? Yes or no? Type in the chat box. Okay, looks like some of you have given the consent and green signal. Okay, fine. Okay, let's get started and go on that. Okay, now I'm going to discuss about two students, our own students. Okay, the first girl's name was Pooja, who was a 9 pointer from Computer Science Department, NIT Trichy, Tier 1 College. NIT Trichy is one of the top NITs in this country. It's ranked number 9 in this entire country, where the top 8 ranks are taken by IITs. Okay, 333 out of 314 GRE. Extraordinary GRE score she scored. Applied to 5 universities for masters, sat to some companies for placement. Now the quiz goes like, okay, what is Pooja's chance of success in her career? Good, average, bad. What is your vote for Pooja? GAB. Can you vote in the chat box? Can you type in the chat box? What is your vote for Pooja? Good, average, bad. What is your vote? Quickly type in the chat box. It's okay, guys. There's nothing right and wrong in this quiz. I'm just trying to understand. Okay. I can see majority. I think everyone has been typing in good, which is something even I would have voted for. Right? Let's lock your answers. Now, we had one more interesting student. This guy's name was Rahul Jain. 6.5 CGPA Mechanical Department, the famous Mechanical Department, a tier 2 college in Hyderabad. I don't want to name the college, I called it tier 2. 308 out of 340. That's a very, very average score. He also applied to 5 universities and sat to some companies for placements, to very average companies. On top of this, Rahul had 3 arrears of backlogs. He became a superhero in the college. Okay. Now, what is Rahul's chance of success? Good, average, bad, bad square. What is your vote for? Type in the chat box. I know this option bad square was suggested by one of the students. Okay. GAB square. What is your vote for Rahul? Type in the chat box. Guys, are you typing in the chat box? Okay. People are still typing in good. Could you please give the rationale why Rahul's chance is good? Abdul says bad. It's typically between average and bad. It's typically between average and bad. That's the reason, guys. Because credentials are not great, has arrears, not from a great college like Pooja, etc. Fine. I agree with your answers. Even I would have voted for the same. Now let's see what is Pooja's success and Rahul's success. Okay. Now Pooja's results was this. She got rejected 4 out of 5 universities. Every company sat for placement rejected resume, and in their entire batch, Pooja has to get the lowest starting salary. And there's a reason. I'll tell you why is it so. On the other hand, our hero Rahul is really a hero, guys. Why? He made an admit from this university by the name University of Michigan Ann Arbor, a very reputed university in US for doing an MS program. It is highly specialized in mechanical and civil areas. On top of it, the university gave him a 100% scholarship and a research stipend of 1,800 US dollars per month for doing research. And not only that, Rahul strongly prepared for placements, cracked an offer from this company by the name Mercedes, which everyone is aware of, in this very interesting domain called as tool design engineering. You guys will know, no? CATIA stuff, all these things, tool design engineering, right? In that domain, he got placed in Mercedes with a starting salary of 10 lakhs per annum. Now, that's my one question to you. Please be ready in the chat box. I'm going to ask you a very important question. What is that? Is uh, what do you think is that one aspect that would have differentiated Pooja Rahul in this particular case? Let me give you a clue. No, what is that one factor that would have differentiated Pooja and Rahul in this particular case? Can you type in the chat box? I already gave you a clue. What is that one factor? Dakshata, confidence. No, my dear. Pooja is equally confident. Any other interest? Abdul Masters, both of them applied for Masters. Hey, this is their options after undergrad. It's not after their Masters. No, no, no. No, there is one factor, guys. I already gave you the clue. You should have got the point. Let me see if somebody's getting the point. What is that one factor? Just think and just type it. It's okay. See, Suhas got the point. Suhas got the point. Exactly, guys. Exactly. The fundamental difference is the X factor. And by the way, before you guys kill me with what is X factor, so-called the industries know what they call as an X factor is fundamentally a profile, guys. It's fundamentally a profile. Okay, guys, just listen to my voice very, very carefully. I'm going to tell something very important for you in your life. Okay, now you are in your end of fifth semester. In the next few months, you guys will start preparing for placements and appearing for placements. Now, please remember this fact. When you sit for a placement on your resume, your CGPA is like a hall ticket. It's an entrance. Okay, it makes you eligible to sit for the interview. That is not going to help you to crack the interview and get the job. That time on your resume, it is your profile that makes the fundamental difference. That's why it's manifold times more important. I'm not telling academics is not important. Academics is one stage, whereas your profile is much more important. At the same time, my higher education guys, when you apply for masters abroad, no, your CGPA, your GRE score is like an application criteria. It's like an entrance. It's your eligibility for application. That will not help you to get an admit. You won't believe me in that process. Okay, profile is given 80 percentage important. Your CGPA GRE scores is given 20 percentage important. So that's my question to you. Okay, can you spend the next 10 minutes? I'm not going to ask you 100 minutes or half an hour, 1 hour. Can you spend the next 10 minutes? I will very, very, very quickly tell you what is this profile building all about. Are you interested? Yes or no? Type in the chat box. Next 10 minutes will very, very quickly cover this plus profile building concepts. Are you interested? Yes or no? Type in the chat box. Okay, looks like I have most of the consent from students. Okay, fair enough, guys. Looks like everybody's interested. Now, let me make one disclaimer before I get into this session. Okay, see, what I'm going to cover in the next 10 minutes is a small tip of the iceberg. You see this wonderful image, no? It's a small tip of the iceberg. In fact, what you've already seen in this session, what you're going to see in the next session for the next 10 minutes is a small percentage of session. Then how do I understand the depth of profile building? Because profile building is an ocean of topic. Inside civil itself, there are so many things I can discuss. Then I have to discuss managerial jobs and technical jobs, and then I have to start discussing masters, higher education options. All these things are there. If you discuss everything now, you'll feel sleepy because already very early part. So what you'll do is next 10 minutes, I'll give you some basics, some basic ideologies, 1, 2, 3 pointers I'll give you. Okay, we can take a break in this session. You guys attend your regular online class by 4 o'clock. Your classes will end. Take a good evening break. Evening 6:15. I have one more session, but that's going to be a little bit different for higher education placements. And not only that, guys. Okay, coming Sunday we'll have more specialized track. For example, topics on discussion on structural stress engineering, design engineering, construction management, or something around, let's say, managerial jobs like UI UX development. Higher education, guys, how do I apply for scholarship? How do I work on research papers? All these topics discussion will come up. Everything is essential to know about this profile building. But the point is, everything I cannot cover now. So what do I do, Hemanth? What do I be if what if I want to know the rest of the aspects? How do I get that? Very simple, guys. I will invite you to my exclusive WhatsApp communities. Okay, especially for higher education abroad students, I have never ever discussed any of these options. I will discuss all these options for you in depth in that particular community. The evening there'll be a session. I will guide you towards that. Now, what about people who are not interested in higher education abroad? It's like I want to do my master's 2 years later. I want to work for a couple of then doing my master's. I'm confused whether to do my master's or I'm looking for placements. For you guys, there is a placement community. Okay, getting a job in a private core or a product company, managerial jobs, techno managerial jobs, creative jobs, etc. So you guys can be a part of this community. Most importantly, don't join both the communities. Your numbers will be automatically removed. Decide what is it you want. If you're confused, please join the placement community. Let's figure out placements profile building. Later, let's look at higher education. So what do I do, Hemant? By the way, how do I access all those things? Very simple. Okay, let me tell a point. What I'm going to talk in the next 10 minutes is a very small percentage. The depth of the session lies in the consecutive sessions, which will be covered in the communities. So we'll post your webinar links on how you can attend that and all these things. Okay. So what you do is very simple. Open your Google Chrome app or open a new tab if you're viewing this in a desktop. Type in this URL, guys, 1.2.vu/ww. Okay, so what I'll do is I will type in for you 1.2.vu, okay, slash ww. Okay, I've just typed in the link. You can click on that. This will redirect you to a simple form. Follow some simple instruction. Join the respective WhatsApp community group. Come back to the Google Meet and type in ready Hemanth. Okay, so I know that you guys have joined the communities, and then I'll start the session. Quickly do this process in the next 2 minutes, guys. Come on, very quickly. Once you're ready, right, just type in ready Hemanth. I will like immediately start the profile building session. Next 10 minutes we'll discuss and then we're done, guys. That's it. So once you're ready, you can just type in ready. I'll immediately start the session. I'm just waiting for you to type in ready once you complete the process. Once you join the communities, just type in ready. I'll start the session. I'm just waiting for you guys. Okay, okay. Are we ready, guys? Can you type in the chat box? Ritika says she's ready. Okay. I'm just waiting for the rest of them. Disha says ready. Okay. Chetan, Sujay. Okay. Alekia, Dakshata, Nayan, Suhas. Okay. Veerabhadra, Gauda, Shankar. Okay. Which means most of you are ready, I believe, which assumes that the rest of them would have done this session. So others, if you're in the process of joining the groups, you can just pause there. Okay. Anyway, I will show the links towards the end of the session. You guys can go and join. So I'll once again repeat. If you're in the process of joining the groups, come back to the webinar. We'll start the session. 5 to 10 minutes, we'll wrap it up. End of the session, I'll show you the link. You can anyway join that. Okay. Now let's get started, guys. Okay. Now, one simple request in this entire session, next 10 minutes, especially the next 10 minutes, which is very, very important. Okay. I want it to be very, 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 very interactive. So I know for the fact that a lot of you have been already typing responses, yes, sir, no, sir, and all these things. Now, don't think, Heyman, these are very silly questions. Why should I answer a yes or no? I don't want you to be like that. Okay. I want each and every one of you to participate in polls. I want you to answer questions, even if it's a silly question. So I asked you a silly question. Do you think every engineer will get a high paying job? Yes or no? You will think, okay, what is going to happen if I answer yes or no? But you saw how much things existed behind that yes or no. So it is critical, guys. It is very critical that you answer questions. I don't want this to be like a Netflix stream video or an Amazon Prime video or a YouTube or an Instagram Reels. Okay. This is your actual life. So it's a workshop, it's an educational session. So please participate in a two-way activity. So I asked you questions, you can always answer them. Some of you have been doing it, others also please wake up and start doing it. So let me begin this session with a very, very interesting question. What is the question is that how did you guys choose engineering? Yes, Mr. Hemanth, I was 100% clear of what I wanted to do in life. I wanted civil engineering, therefore I picked up is option one. No, Mr. Hemanth, partially it was my choice, peer pressure, etc., etc. Option number three, some people it was even forced upon you. One, two, three. What is your vote for? Type in the chat box. I'll tell you guys why am I asking these questions, what these questions mean, what is the purpose of asking this question. So you guys type in the chat box. Okay, I can see majority of you are typing in between 2 and 3. Between 2 and 3. Some students are typing in 1. 3, I feel very sad. I empathize with you. 2, just like you, I'm also a choice under 2 where I was not very clear of what I want to do in my life. 1, people are very glad. Okay, I'm so glad that you do what is that you want. So what is it I'm trying to tell you by asking such questions and taking a response is that in some way or the other, engineering choice was a mistake because we start feeling it's very clear, guys. You tell me how many engineers from, let's say, mechanical, civil, automobile, EEE, EC end up working in such core domains. It's very, very less. We all work in other interesting other non-engineering domains. So in some way or the other, our choice of education was a mistake because that's how the system is, etc. We can keep talking about that. But one thing, guys, okay, one thing, this mistake is absolutely fine. because even I have done that mistake. Every other engineer is making the mistake. Whereas your career should never ever be a mistake in terms of choosing it. Why? Engineering, 4 years. You like it, you don't like it, you'll pass out of engineering. Career, there's no choice. You need to have it throughout your life, guys. Okay, so it is very critical you don't make a mistake in choosing that. Now, why am I telling you this was we wanted to ensure we did not commit that mistake for Rahul. So what I'm going to do now is very simple. I am going to explain profile building concept using a case study approach. What do you mean by a case study approach is that I'm going to take Rahul's journey on my platform and explain a step-by-step process in terms of how he built his profile. Okay. Now this is called as a case study approach, or what we call as a practical approach. So you can put yourself into shoes of Rahul. You can analyze what is it Rahul did, what is it Rahul did not do. The other way to look at it is a very theoretical approach. Rahul did A, B, C, X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3, etc., etc. So, what is your preference? You want to understand it by case study or a theory preference? Okay, theory or case study? What is your preference? Type on the chat box. Let's just understand, guys. I can teach both. I can teach theory, I can teach theory, but what is your preference? Type on the chat box. Okay, Darshita says case study. What about others? Theory or case, guys? Sujay says case study. Lakshmi says case study. Okay. Suhas says case study. Alekya says case study. Disha says, okay, I know why do engineers love case study. Reason is very simple. We've been so much learning theory inside the classroom. We're so bored about theory, right? No worry, my dear students. As per your preference, I will take the case study approach. Okay, done, guys. Right, let's get started. Now, when Rahul signed up on the platform, we conducted a series of tests called as a diagnostic test, which included an aptitude test, a career interest test, a soft skill test, and a psychometric test. Okay, this test threw some interesting results. Now, based on these results, we were able to decide what is Rahul's career choice. So, what we're doing here is very simple, my dear students. I am looking at scientific evidence of Rahul's strengths and weaknesses to decide his career choice. So, he was suggested design engineering, robotics, and digital marketing based on his skill sets. Okay, now, the next step, what we do was we build Rahul's CV on our platform. We take Rahul's basic details, okay, then we make this pass build on the platform, and then we combine the CV with the results of the diagnostic test. Remember, in the previous slide, I showed you some results of diagnostic test. So, what am I doing here is very simple. I am trying to build a customized career track for Rahul. Right. Then one step further, we make the CV pass through something called as an AI recommendation engine, which is a repository of 10,000 older CVs. So, what am I doing here? I am looking at historical information of my own students who have got into design engineering, structural stress engineering, etc., and then fine tuning Rahul's career choice. So, what am I doing here is I'm making a data backed decision for Rahul's career choice. And in this process, we generate his profile gap analysis report. Okay, the next step we go. We make Rahul meet an industry mentor. For example, Rahul met an R&D head from this company by the name Maruti Suzuki, right? And before Rahul meet his mentor, right, he didn't ask any random questions to his mentor. Please remember the fact. Rahul had a structured analysis of his career in his hand, a report of his career in his hand, on how do you need to build his profile, and explored something called as a career role video. How does the life of a design engineer looks like? If I'm picking up construction management, what are the skills I need to do? So he's having a very pre-nurtured doubts. And then the mentor Rahul and we came to a conclusion. Rahul, this is how you need to build your career for the next few months or next few semesters. Now you might ask a question. Hemanth, I thought profile building is doing some very cool activities like going for events, this, that, and all these things, but you're telling something very different, something very simple like a diagnostic test as though I'm having a COVID. Why are you doing all these things? One simple reason, guys, one simple reason. Engineering choice was a mistake for Rahul and many of the other engineers, whereas a career should never ever be a mistake for us. Okay, so in this process, what is a process? A set of diagnostic tests, a CV building platform, and the industry mentoring. Now, this is the phase one of profile building. Okay, and Rahul did all of this phase one of profile building on my platform. Now, the question goes to you, where is it you guys are going to do it? Your college, your seniors, your friends, family, neighbors are going to help you. None of them going to help you. Who's going to help you is something you need to figure out. That is very important. Okay, so that's the phase one of profile building, which we call as the discover, decision, and the diagnosis phase. Now, the second most important phase in profile building is upskilling. Okay, so I remember, guys, we have been to your BMSIT campus last year. We have talked to your seniors and all. Unfortunately, we are forced to address you in our online session. We told them to do a lot of upskilling online courses with platforms like NPTEL, Udemy, Coursera, all these guys. And I think some of you would have also done courses from these platforms, right? My seniors did all these courses. They mentioned this on the resume and they sat for the interview. And on the interview, the recruiters are asking a question. So what if you've done an online course? It doesn't really matter to me. So which means these courses are fundamentally not adding value on your resume. These are good courses. They give you good knowledge, but they're not adding value. Then we understood the fact that these courses were theoretical in nature and there is no scientific evidence behind you guys choosing this course. You guys do this course just because it is available free of cost, which means there is no drive on why you're doing this course. Okay, now what I'm going to do is very simple. I'll ask you two important questions. I want each and every one of you to participate in that question. These two questions will flip your entire mind about what you guys have been upskilling, whether you've been doing it in the right or the wrong way. Okay, the first question: have you guys done any online course that is related to your dream job? Okay, which means I did a course in X, I'll get a job in domain X. Yes, Mr. Hemant, I did something very much related to my dream job. Or no, Mr. Hemant, I did something random or outside. Or I've not even done a course at all. One, two, three, what is your vote for this poll? Type on the chat box. Guys, it's absolutely okay to be transparent here. No need to feel shy if you click option 3. No need to feel very proud if you click option 1. Just type in 1, 2, 3. Okay, I can see majority. I think everyone, not even majority. Everyone is typically typing in between 2 and 3. That is the fundamental problem, guys. We are learning something, but we are not clear of how is that you guys can apply that in your case. And this is fine. I have one more question for you guys. Okay, as an outcome of your online course, have you been able to do any industrial project that is also related to your dream job? Yes, Mr. Heyman. Today I have project applications in companies like civil companies, construction companies, management companies, etc., etc. No, Mr. Hemant, I have some random project. I don't have any project application. Okay. Or I did a course, but I couldn't do a project. Now you type in the chat box between 1, 2, 3. What is your vote for? Quickly type on the chat box. It's okay, guys. It's nothing to feel shy if you don't have a project, you did a course. It's absolutely fine. So 1, 2, 3. What is your vote for? Type in the chat box. Hey, by the way, people who typed in 1, 2 and all don't feel very proud also. That is also clear. Huh. Look at that. Look at that. Everybody, okay, everybody is typing in option number 3 or even 2 for that matter. So that is the problem. That is the fundamental problem, guys. Though these courses are very, very good, they don't have a project outcome. Now, Rahul was very clever. He told a big no to all these courses. He did his courses from a company by the name Dassault System. You guys have heard about Dassault System, no? You use your design engineering principles, no? Your CATIA V5, SolidWorks, and all those things. So he did his course from the industry itself. And Rahul worked on a very sophisticated technology called as 3D Experience Works. Okay, for example, there are softwares like eTabs, which is not in a part of his syllabus book, where students like Rahul learn such softwares. eTabs are used for structural stress components, guys, to assess the stress across buildings and all these things. It's a very interesting software. So he worked on such interesting softwares which the industry is using today. And please remember, as an outcome of the course, Rahul has built on a project called as windscreen wiper plates, some design project which he pitched to a particular automotive startup, and the startup was able to copyright that design. That's why we're calling it as a confidential project. So let's remember, when Rahul is applying for the internship, please look at his face of progress. He has analyzed his strengths and weaknesses. He has built his CVs and documents. He has upskilled the industry way, not any random way. He has had an industry ready project. In simple words, Rahul built his profile that helped him to crack an internship from Mercedes Benz. Now, you guys ask the same question. Why is that I'm not able to crack an internship in JLL, ABB, or L&T Core, or let's say Arcadis, any of the core civil companies? Simply because of the fact we don't have a profile in place. Okay, does it mean doing projects is building profile? No. Project is one element of profile that itself most of us don't have. And most importantly, when Rahul came out of the internship, he got a PPO and a letter of recommendation from his mentor in the company. Guys, please understand this fact. When you guys sit for placements, it is not your CGPA, it is not your free online course certificate that will help you to get a job. It is your project, exposure to internship, a letter of recommendation from your mentor or your professor. It is something that will help you to crack a job or apply for masters. So technically speaking, what is profile building? A diagnosed way to look at your career. Industry oriented courses, not any random courses. Having the right set of skill sets for the right kind of job. Having industry recognized projects, having access to internships and letter of recommendation. If you're a student interested in masters abroad in technical areas, you work on research papers. Okay, so let's remember, profile is not a formality activity. Like you guys come to online class for attendance, you go to college for attendance, you go to college for degree. No, it is not that thing. It is something fundamentally that will change your entire life in a way that you're not even imagined of. Take Rahul's case. A student from a much average college than you was able to build a world class profile, and that made him help and get an admit and also as a pre-placement offer as well. And by the way, guys, one important thing, I'm also okay with students who don't do anything in profile building, which is a big mistake. The bigger mistake is that students building their profile in a wrong manner. What is the example? Remember, I asked you the question, how many of you have an industry project? None of you have it. That is even more dangerous because you have put some efforts, but you're going in the wrong direction. So that's why Rahul did everything on the platform. Okay, for example, the decision diagnostic phase, the auto CV builder, the mentor interaction, and then upskilling the industry way. Okay, not any random way. Okay, now just because you have a great profile, does it mean a placement is guaranteed? No. Or master's admission is guaranteed? No. Rahul had access to two things on the platform. One was an admission portal that helped him to get a job in a core company or a product company of his desire. Second, okay, was a, I mean, sorry, the first was a job portal, right? The second was an admission portal which helped him towards his masters. How is it possible? Remember in the first part of the slide, I showed you some list of companies. Hey, these are not some branding activities where I show some list of companies as though I have an association. It's not like that formality MOU. No, no, no. These are actual list of companies where our past students have been working today at this point of time. Okay, so Rahul had access to that recruitment pool as well, right? That is very, very important. Okay, yes. So let me make one thing also clear. Just because I discuss Rahul case study, don't think you guys become a profile expert. Because what you've seen in this session no so far, it is just 5% or even less than that of what profile building is capable of. There is a deeper discussion that we need to go through to understand it in depth. Okay, and by the way, higher education guys, I never ever discussed any of these options with you guys, and I need to discuss all those things in depth. So I already presume and assume you are already a part of the WhatsApp group. Okay. If you're not part of it, the link is right there on your screen. You guys can join the community at any point of time. So that's it, guys. I'm done with my session. So what I'll do is next 1 or 2 minutes, I'll spend some time on answering any questions. So thank you so much, guys. You've been such a wonderful and a sweet audience. All the very best for your careers, and I would highly recommend you to be a part of the evening 6 o'clock session. It's highly recommended, guys. Please go and attend the same. Okay. So, sir, I am done with my session. Is there anything else that students want to ask or anything that you want to convey? I'm done at the side of the session,
Yeah.
guys.
What I would request you to share your contact details because we have the next session coming up. So I'm sure those who are interested, they will definitely contact you. It is a really very nice session and is very nicely put across as well. Probably now they would understand the significance of industry projects or live projects, or as you said, the most important thing is even if you don't do profiling, it's fine. But if you do it wrongly, it's puts the wrong foot forward. So I'm sure that many of us have taken a positive note of this. So I really look forward that those who are really interested will join you in your 6 p.m. endeavor. So if students have any queries, you may kindly put it across to sir today later. Sir, can you please share your contact details in the chat box?
Okay, so what I'll do is I will type on the email, sir. So 1 minute. So we have a support ID through it. Officially, we take in all queries because everything needs to be ensured we are recorded for the same. So I'll just type in the email ID. So it's support@keralabs.com. Any query that is raised through this email ID, our support team or the respective team will get in touch with them, sir. There is a process for the same. I've just
Yeah,
typed in
no,
this.
yeah, perfect.
Yes, sir.
Meanwhile, I think we have another 5 to 10 minutes before the next faculty logs in.
Mhm.
So, if students have any queries, you may please raise it now. If students have any queries, please do raise it now. We have another 5 to 10 minutes before Shobha ma'am takes over the session. If any of you have any questions, please do ask. Any questions from students to sir?
Okay, guys, very simple. There are two ways. Okay, right now, next couple of minutes, I'm available before the next faculty comes in. You can shoot your questions. I'll be more than happy to answer. If not, there are two things. One, you can also write to us in the support. We can have a more personalized session, talk, etc., etc. Or anyway, evening session you guys join. There'll be one more support ID there. You can ask all your questions. Whichever is fine, guys. I'm okay. I'll stay for the next couple of minutes. Yeah,
Okay, sir. I guess madam has also joined us. So
fine,
I
sir.
believe,
I'll
yeah.
take an exit. Yeah, I think I'm done.
I would,
Yes.
on behalf of the BMSIT, in behalf of Civil Department and my friends, I'd like to thank all of you. Okay,
Yes.
thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. I really look forward to more fruitful interactions. We have one of our seniors actually who is also placed in Byjus, a couple of them
Oh,
at least.
interesting, sir.
Yes.
Interesting, interesting,
So I'm
interesting.
sure that this will be useful for everyone. So with these few words, I would like to once again thank Byju, Mr. Hemanth, and Mr. Nitin for organizing and conducting this session. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I'll take an exit. Thank you, sir. Yeah.